listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LOZ Podcast Network. You might be watching us in the LOZ app. We have all kinds of podcast videos you can look at from different things around the lake. We always focus on the lake and local people at the lake and business owners at the lake. Or you might even be listening to us today on KRMS Radio from 10 to 11. We have a show every week. I'm excited today because I've got my friend Pamela Quinn, the Chief Experience Officer over at Lake Days Rentals. Pamela, how you doing?
Good. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. So, okay, rentals season is here, right? I mean, people tend to think this is the time of year where everybody's just kind of sitting around. But I know in talking to you off the air, things are gearing up, aren't they?
They are. It's a very busy time. It's a very important time to be strategic in your decisions. As a homeowner, it's important to right now know what your strategy is for the season. And if you haven't committed, be evaluating all of your options intentionally. It's just an important time for that.
So let's talk about that. You have different options when you're renting your property, right? And so, you have to kind of decide, what do I want to do this year? Do I want to take this on 100% like I've been doing for the last couple of years? Do I want to do some kind of a combo where maybe I do a part-time and I let somebody else help me? Or do I hire someone like you guys to come in and just run it for me and let me just go back to enjoying my life? So tell me about all those different options.
That's a great question. It really depends on the person, their proximity to the lake, their available time, and their commitment. It is a big commitment to self-manage. And that's, the first option. A lot of people want to say, I'm going to do it all myself. It's fun and it's exciting and it's really rewarding to provide guest experiences, but you are on call 24/7. That is a reality. You are on call 24 hours a day. And if someone can't get into the property at 3 a.m., you need to take that phone call. And so that's one of the biggest deterrents for the people that are looking at self-managing is that piece of the time commitment. The other aspect is the technology. It's no longer, hey, I'm going to put my house out on VRBO or my condo out on Airbnb. Just using one of those isn't enough anymore. You need to use both. And if you really want to succeed, you need to use way more than that. So it's, and even if, let's say you're going to master Airbnb, well, I mean, we still haven't fully figured it out. And I can tell you from our meetings with our Airbnb representatives, it changes every 30 days. So you have to be on top of your game. If you choose to self-manage, it's a business. You need to own it like a business and be committed to it like a business. So that's the one option. And that's the option that costs you the least because you're not paying anybody else to be engaged. You're covering everything. And a lot of people like to try that.
Well, and you say it's not costing you anything, but if you start adding up your time, and if your time's worth, let's just say it's worth minimum wage, okay? Let's just say it's worth $15 an hour, and you're spending 20 hours a week managing this property, it really is costing you, isn't it? I mean, there's always a cost factor to what's going on. And as you know, it's not just about getting the rental done, it's then you got to get it cleaned, and then you got to get it reset, and then you got to make sure that if there's a problem that, there's a lot there, isn't there?
There is. And the stress of it has value too. When they're considering what that option looks like, knowing that you're dependent on a cleaner, especially if you're a distance from the lake, you're dependent on a cleaner to 1, show up, 2, do a good job, and 3, leave the property in the way that you want it delivered to the guest. That is so stressful. And, on our end, we have an inspection that goes through after the clean, evaluates the clean, makes sure everything's staged, delivered in the way that we want it to be and expect it to be. But if you're managing from a distance, you're relying on a person that you usually don't know very well to ultimately deliver the guest experience that you're promising when you're talking to the guest.
And those repeat guests are really where the money's made, right? So everybody wants to get that first guest in, but what you guys do and what I think is amazing with all the different processes you guys have put into place, your focus is on, yes, we want to get them into your place the first time, but we want that experience to be so good that they rent this thing 4, 5, 6 more times for the year and continue to do that year after year, because that's really where you make the money, right?
It is. The return client is very valuable in a lot of ways. One, you kind of know what they expect. You know what was valuable to them. You've had those conversations early on. And so your ability to provide an exceptional experience is elevated. 2, for us at Lake Days Rentals, we have multiple styles of properties. So we have the cabin, we have a condo, we have a medium-sized home, we have large estates. And so our goal is to get the return client, but they don't always choose the same home. And that's an advantage to our owners because as they return, I think the last one I saw that was at the highest, I think is right around 7 times per year that they
Wow.
return to one of our properties. But they didn't come to the same property because they came with their spouse, they came for work, they came with a group of guys for golf, they came with extended family, took one of the 7 bedrooms. So that's our goal, is that return client. And yes, you have to have a strategy. You have to find a way to connect with them, and you have to have the time to connect with them, to make those phone calls, send those emails, text messages, and make sure that they remember, hey, that's the place we want to go back to.
And, look, you're doing it for almost 200 properties. I mean, you're huge. I mean, I'm so proud of what you guys have done in the last couple of years. I know every time I talk to you, it's like, well, we added another 15 properties. And that's just a testament, I think, to what's going on. If you look at social media around the lake and somebody says, hey, I want to stay, I need to get a vacation rental, there'll be 20 people who say, you got to call Lake Days. I mean, that's a testament to what you guys have built down there. But also having done that and having that many properties, if you're doing it just for one property, you got to do almost as much work as you're doing for 20 and 30 properties. And that can get a little bit, laborious, right?
Yeah. Because to be honest, we are your main competition if you're self-managing. And we have 3 databases that drive our revenue. We have revenue consultants. We're listed on 32 different sites. And so all of our properties, all of our owners are competing with all of the self-managing owners. And I don't mean that in a negative way. There are some absolutely incredible self-managed properties here that deliver these amazing experiences. And those owners are taking the time, but they see it as a job. This is not a side hustle for them. This is something that they're committed to, and they are such amazing hosts. And I'm so proud of what they create because it just elevates the lake. But the ones that put it out there and say, I think I'll get a little bit of money, and don't put the time into it, you're really putting yourself more at risk for bad reviews and creating a long-term negative impact on your property that you don't necessarily want if you really want to have the opportunity to earn revenue long-term. So, and like I said, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm just being realistic. When you look at putting your property out there self-managed, who are you competing with? And Lake Days Rentals have the highest single entity of full service property management. And that kind of leads to, what are some of the other options? And there's a lot out there.
Well, so tell me, if I go with you guys, I'm self-managing now and I go with you guys, do you just kind of take it off my plate and say, look, we're going to give you a report every month. We're going to tell you where you're at. But for the most part, we're handling everything. Or is it still some kind of a mix of I've got to run part of it, you guys run part of it? What's that look like?
So that's a good question because ultimately we take it completely off your plate. That's what we're good at. That's our full service. That's what we are willing to do for every single owner. But especially for those that have self-managed, they have some skin in the game. They've made some plans. They've strategically designed some things. They might have a certain thing that they leave out for a guest. So we can be as involved and have the owner as involved as fits them. And that's part of the personalized care that we give to the guest is the same personalized care that we give to an owner. And we want to meet them in their space. So if they want to be involved, let's say they have a special personalized note that they want to leave out for every guest that's signed by their family, has a little picture of their family, and they have a special gift. That is perfectly fine. We can do that. If they want to know every single time that there's a maintenance issue at their property, we can call them. But if they don't and they just expect us to handle it, that's exactly what we do as well.
I'm just sitting here thinking about what kind of owner I would not want to hear about it. I would just want you to do it and let me know send me my checks, but which you can do, right? That's an option.
That's the kind of owner we are as well. So as real estate investors, that's the kind of owner we are as well. We are, please take it off our plate. We want you to fully manage it and handle it. If we're going to give someone any percentage of what we make, we expect that percentage to cover our stress, our responsibility, our time, and every aspect of managing that property. So that's how we are as an owner. But we learned pretty quickly that that's not how everyone is. So we do design our services to meet people where they want to be.
And this time of year is really when you want to make that decision because, you've got people that are already booking stuff for the beginning of the season. You got a lot going on. You got the car show coming up. You've got the lake race coming up. You've got all these big events that are happening early in the season, and people are already booking those, right?
They are. And that's something too that we see owners like getting stressed if they don't have a ton of bookings. And we want them to know, hey, it's okay that you have openings, because while we want to keep traction, meaning we want to keep presence and a consistent number of bookings happening, we don't want to be fully booked. And we see that on social media. People will post, hey, we just had a weekend open up in July. And I'm like, ooh, that could be good, couldn't be good, depending on your pricing strategy. Or some of our owners are saying, what's going on? Our neighbor is all booked for June and we don't have anything. That's okay. June is a different animal when it comes to pricing strategies and how quickly you want to fill up. So that's okay. And we know that, but it's hard to keep track of all of that.
Yeah, and that's why you don't want to do it as your job. You want to hire someone like Pamela Quinn, Mike Quinn. You guys have just done an amazing job. And if they want to get a hold of you, obviously it's really easy. You just go to lakedays.rentals and you got everything there for them. They can look through all the properties. They can contact you guys if they want to get help on listing their property. It's awesome to talk to you. You have so much knowledge about what's going on in the rental community, and that's a big part of the lake. And so we just value having you on the show to talk about that, and get your insight into what's going on at Lake of the Ozarks, which is one of the biggest rental properties going, right?
It is, it's seen nationally as a dynamically growing market, even though it's seasonal. So it has like this niche space of a seasonal market that's growing and dynamic. And so it has the attention of the industry, short-term rental industry overall.
Thank you, Pamela. We will be back after these words, and we'll have Pamela on again because we love having her on the show. She tells us all the things we want to know on the LOZ Podcast Network.